Salutations and greetings, everybody. Ethereal Comics here, talking about all kinds of shit and stuff and things. We got Blayden Hunter going to hop on here in just a second. April Rayna will be on here shortly. We're going to talk a little bit about the BGD 4 recap. Wow, what an incredible campaign, right? Beautiful books, phenomenal team working on that. Just a really, really good showing from everyone, and it was just an awesome experience. Wow, just super, super good, and I couldn't be happier with it, Hey, Blayden, what was your favorite part about issue 3 of BGD?
I'm still working on it, but I don't know. It's hard to choose between the Serenity backstory and then the current situation. I mean, we're taking a step away from the current situation where we were everywhere, with everybody, Maya and Eve having that brawl in the alleyway, and then kind of doing a flashback on this one. So
yeah,
it's kind of like a awesome 80s action flashback. I mean, I wish we could all have those.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, how much fun is it to get to actually go back in time if you feel like it in your storytelling? I mean, that's just
right, and to not do it in like a hokey way. Like it's fun and it's really, really hard hitting, and it's gonna kind of paint a picture of how these characters get along and what they've been through. So
right on. I think so. I think that people are gonna get a lot more emotion from certain characters, that they may not have, perceived or expected to receive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we showed a lot of that in issue 3, with Ricky and his relationship to Maya and how he feels about the character and stuff.
Oh man, did you ask about issue 3 initially and I just went off about issue 4?
Yes.
I am sorry.
It's so okay.
You can ask me again and I'll fix it, but I also don't like talking, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, issue 4 is phenomenal, though. I mean, it's another super, super fun book and a place for us to, again, move into a situation that if it wasn't storytelling, we wouldn't be able to go back and do. You know what I mean? So being able to take you guys into the past has been quite an experience. Issue 3 though was a lot of fun, and we really cannot wait to get it out to you guys. There's only I think we've got 100 of them left to put out, and then we're into issue 4. And issue 4 hits hard though.
All right, issue 4 is swinging for the fences, and it's knocking it out of the park.
I mean, Blayden was going ham on some of those inks, man. They're beautiful.
I think I figured out how to do a little bit of inking. I mean, I might have carried a book or two before, but
right.
Actually learning how to do things well and try to figure out the right balance. So.
Oh yeah. As an art director, it's Shawnee.
Hello.
As an art director, though, I think we all have high expectations of the quality of content that you put out. You know what I mean? That's something not to weigh you down with the weight of all of our friends and fans. You know what I mean? But it's something like when you can have a beautiful script and awful artwork and it not do well. You know what I mean? But same thing and vice versa. You can have a really great script and shit, or great artwork but shit script and it be terrible too.
Doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a two-way street, but it's so much fun to see the stuff that you've put together and the characters that we've got coming out, and the guidance that you've been able to give the other team members and stuff has been absolutely phenomenal.
Well, I mean, I want all of our books to be great, and we have great people, so I want to make sure that they're firing on all cylinders and they're kicking butt too. So, I mean, even today, just working with a couple of the different folks that for covers or for interiors, it's fun for me too, because I get to be part of the process and I get to pretend like I know stuff and tell people what to do.
Right, yeah, well, that's the best part, right? A boss man type of deal. I get that. I'm about that. But we also, there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on in like the background and in the mind's eye of what we're putting out. Like just the process. Like right now, I don't know. Right now, we're shipping out BGD 3. That's going out right now. So we're in the process of moving all those out. I think we've got 100 orders left to ship for that, but they'll be out in the next couple weeks. They'll
Apparently
go
mine's
out.
one of them.
Yes, yours is one of them. Well, all of the so we had a so we got our new printer. Love our new printer, right? Absolutely love our new printer. And they, because they're a large operation, have been doing absolutely phenomenal. But I had miscalculated slightly, just slightly. So I had to order a bunch more books, and they'll be here in the next 2 weeks. But it was like there were so many cool books, and I was like, oh well, because we do mystery boxes, right? And I was like, yeah, we're maybe I've ordered enough. We'll fill up the mystery boxes and yada yada and all that jazz. Well, I, in my infinite wisdom, filled a couple mystery boxes with books I was going to need for other orders. So, well, I get excited. Like I'm not no bullshit.
No.
I get excited when I mail you guys stuff out. Like I enjoy it. Like I'm a hype man for you guys. Like I really like getting you guys the product. Just because it's fun. Like it's fun to hear the people's reactions and the fans' thoughts and our friends' opinions. And the more fans we've got, the more voices I want to hear. So it's like, I don't know. When you guys when we do likes on images and stuff like that, I always give the props to the artists. But when we get opinions about the stories and stuff, I'm always like, yes, I did that part. You know what I mean? That's my part.
Well, the images wouldn't be here though if you hadn't built it and if you hadn't conceptualized it and started with it. So
for sure. But
yeah,
I mean, all of you guys are so incredibly talented, like so incredibly talented. And we're going to let me check and see if I can make this thing live. I'm like 7 minutes behind. I've been talking and BSing so much.
I was like live.
Yeah, let me go make sure that I can get this going. Let me ask Russ real quick. Let me make sure he's got all this stuff done before I click a button and get myself in trouble. But it's been such a cool thing to witness. I appreciate that, Nathan. It means a lot, man. I mean, it means a lot.
Well, look, they let me on it, just to hang out and be family. So I'm always
because you're awesome. You're fucking cool as all get out.
I love listening to you guys and talking about it and being a part of this. It's like I'm with everybody. It's so much fun. I love watching Blayden do amazing art and then April's laugh. And it's just, it's so cool just to be a part of all this. So
I'm trying to find the button. I've done this enough times that I can't find the button.
I'm distracting you by, so you can blame me.
Yeah, stop praising him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You instead. That's what you working on there.
Yeah.
If you want to know, this is actually one of the characters, one of the two sisters for a project that we're going to I think we're going to launch in September. This one is actually a little closer for me in creation. It's going to be a little bit of a kind of collapse of the Roman Empire with ancient aliens, and everyone's going to have different genealogical bits from like alien experiments. But this is Thea, and her little sister is Maria, and they're going to be along with I'm actually going to draw her next with a sellsword named Tinar, and we're going to be seeking some lost treasure and trying to hold out against alien hordes and a new constructed god.
Oh my god, that sounds so cool.
Yeah.
We are live for our very first joint joint pre-order. We've never done this before. But it's our own projects. It's two of our own books. It's Greed and it's Theater 7. Theater 7 issue 2, Greed issue 4. The Greed trade paperback is also going to be on this campaign. I'm pretty sure Russ has put it on there.
That's good. Yeah, it's a good way to catch up if you haven't gotten the other ones and kind of get the story and familiarize yourself with all the characters.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah,
now, if you
I was
haven't
pleasantly
seen
surprised
Greed,
to see the two of them together doing the two in the same. So
well,
it was so we had a concept.
Right?
We had an odd concept, right? When it was like, so Greed is very different than Theater7, like very, very different. And but it was like, we had a conversation about putting books that were too like on the same campaigns, because we decided that to help you guys not only on shipping but on timing,
right,
that we wanted to make sure that we put out our books at the same time every month going forward. So I was like, well, what books can we put with what, yada yada, and where can we go with it? And Penny is one of these characters that oh my gosh, one second.
It freeze. I'm just looking for
Yeah. So anyway, going forward with Greed was like a very like horror / religious type of thing, with all like religions, across the world and across the globe, with what Cade, the actual, demon, was dealing with, plus the young boy Oz, and their adventures, if you will, and what they've got going on. Last issue, you guys met Lee, and you met Arya, you met Kukulane, and you also got to see Wrath for a quick second, and he makes his big to-do in this issue. I'm gonna be honest with you, out of all the books I write, and I write a lot of horror, he's probably the scariest thing I've ever written. Like absolutely the most terrifying thing I've ever written.
He disturbs me on a very intrinsic level.
He's quite a terrifying individual. But see, you know what I think's funny? I think children have an inherent ability to terrify.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like awful, right? It sounds awful. But like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like the other night, we had the tornadoes going through the middle of the country, right? And we were we were going to get my children and bring them downstairs and to the room with us. And I remember Heather had turned around and to say something to me, and the front of our house is big windows, and the lightning had flashed or whatever. And you could see my son like standing in the stairwell, and she turned around and like, I thought she was going to piss all over the floor. Like I thought she was going to let it out right there on the floor. But it was really funny, right? Because he's only 4, so he's like belly button height right now, So he scared the living shit out of her. It was a really funny situation that they were going through between the two of them, because he just likes to do that. He likes to pop up and scare the Jesus out of you. But Wrath is a young boy that's been young Nazi child that's been possessed by the sin Wrath, willingly possessed by the sin Wrath. And he's one of our main antagonists for the Greed series. And then you've got like Lilith. Lilith is more an anti-hero than a real actual villain in the book. She doesn't care for our main characters though at all, like in the least. But then you've got Arya and Lee, characters we've introduced before in the listener. So now you've got those guys that are actually crossed over into this book, and which is super fun because you guys are getting to see the noble spirits and the all the different shenanigans that they're going through, and where is the listener? Why is the listener not there? So big old war about to happen, shenanigans going on. But the big deal is the serpent tree, which is a huge artifact that's shown up in the middle of the town, and everybody wants it. I mean, because it in fact is an artifact. If you control it, it basically does this, and this for you. So you've got 3 different groups that are there vying for this, and you've got our 2 main characters stuck in the middle of it.
I have to say, the tree itself is also pretty damn creepy. So
yeah, well, all the snake skins and all that stuff hanging off of it. I really enjoy the story about, you know, Jorgemund and being the world eater and scraping his skin off against the tree and whatnot. It's all really interesting stuff. And then you've also got, though, Theater7. And Theater7 has been a blast for us to create, working with Penny and whatnot. You know, she is a fun individual, like a super fun individual. And one cool thing about Penny is that the way we dropped that book was the new printer immediately got it to us. And you guys liked Penny so much that we were into book 2 almost immediately, you know, and we wanted to make sure that you didn't have to wait very long before you got issue 1 and issue 2 of Theater7. And Penny, let me bring up a cover real quick so you guys can see it. I was going to wait till April got here to throw covers, but hold on. I will throw some covers up for you guys to check out. Penny works at Theater7, a refurbished theater, and she's a big movie buff, like a huge movie buff. And I love that cover. And what she does is she's now the manager of this new theater, but she finds a gentleman there the first night she's working, and when she goes to look and see who it is, he's gone, but there's a ticket on the seat where he was at. And lo and behold, the ticket sucks her into the film Return to the Future. And we've just had such a blast working with Penny in Return to the Future. But you know, she's got a new arc coming up. We've got 2 more issues in this arc. Then we're into the next one. And you guys will get to do the big snake arc, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And for those of you guys that haven't seen the artwork, the interiors of Theater7, it's all done by Devin Massey of Cavewoman fame. And it's also got Dan Kemp, who has been on everything worth reading under the sun, you know, since like 2001, you know, so really, and that's probably later. He's probably been around longer than that, and I'm just getting my numbers off. But Dan's an incredible colorist, and Devin is an amazing storyteller. So working with the two of them to put together Theater7 was such a phenomenal experience. Like, it really was. And I look forward to each and every issue we go to put out. And the teams, oh my gosh, the teams love working with them because they get to do these amazing covers. I mean, Jake killed that cover. Like, oh my gosh.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Right? It's just adorable, you know? And then we went and we did the Year of the Digital Flame covers. So like Blayden did the Mario Brothers game. We just thought that was super fun. And then, so the Year of the Digital Flame, this calendar year, is actually our favorite video games every month. So like we did cool. World of Warcraft the other a month or two ago, you know. But right now, another one we're releasing with this campaign is RoboCop vs. Terminator.
Yeah.
Can't leave that up there too long because I didn't realize that wasn't edited. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. No, I had no clue it wasn't edited. I was just like grabbing images. Yeah. You know, but Tina did this one, which was just awesome. Just so much fun. You know. And oh my gosh, Gabriel. So you guys know Gabriel from Heavy Metal, and you know him from Fallen Leaves. But Gabriel did this beautiful one. I just wow.
So pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. There's some of these covers.
Currently, that's one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of the covers that LC Frida's killed this one.
And LC Frida's there's your hip butt shot.
Yeah, there's your butt shot. That's right.
He's doing that again. He's quite good at that. So yeah, we kind of want that.
That man can draw a bottom like not many. But you know, then Blayden's got some awesome ones. Vic's real good too. Blayden's got some awesome ones for this set, including this one. Like, dude.
Here, you want to see the?
Yeah, let us see it because that's on the campaign, guys. You can actually get the original cover art for that one.
Wow.
Beautiful. Oh my, look at the inks on that thing. Let me see if I can figure out how to
go overboard.
Make it a big one.
Yeah, there. Let me see. There we go. Just look at the inks in that, man. Just, dude, that's a beast, man. That is a beast.
That is amazing.
I'll need a lead swinger.
Yeah, that's a good one, man, for sure. Oh my goodness. Oh, you got it already? Wow, dope, man. Congratulations.
Good job.
All right, I guess
Awesome.
I gotta get ready to ship out.
Gotta be quick.
Nathan's slaying them, man.
That's right.
But so we've got
like in there and grab it.
Yeah. This one's a lot of fun too.
Oh, there's
it's just so cool because it's so very different, right? Like,
I don't think that guy's done one thing that I didn't like. Like, it's so good. They're always so cool and so crisp.
Right. Just it's so very different. Like, it's just
that one's kind of got that 80s nostalgia type thing. Yeah.
Right. Just so good. You know. And then of course we've got the Massies.
Yeah, let's see.
That's super fun. It's just super fun. And then Eduardo Garcia, you know, he does all the interiors for the book. He also does the listener.
Mm-hmm.
And that one came out super fun with Scary Ass Little Wrath on it.
Yeah.
He terrifies me. He just terrifies me. Like, you know, and then we've got the so for each of these campaigns going forward, we'll be doing crossover covers. I think we're doing some crossover covers. I can't show you guys
crossover cover about, Justin.
Yeah, so like this is the
oh my goodness.
There's that one.
Okay.
Which is half of the crossover covers. And I can't show you the other one, but it's another half of the crossover covers.
Can't just put your hand in front of it like I can.
No.
Dang it.
Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. That's a really good idea, man.
Yeah.
A pick 4 option. That'd be pretty cool.
3's not enough, huh? All right.
Well, I mean, you can do the add-on. I mean,
also, Claire asked above. She asked if we're only on Facebook and asked if we were ever on Twitch. I don't think we are, right?
Oh no, we're not on Twitch. We do YouTube.
And Facebook pretty much is.
We broadcast YouTube. We broadcast both Facebook pages. But so the weird thing about StreamYard when you're doing stuff is, oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm trying to deal with like 40 other people that we work with at the same time, and it's April Reyna. God bless April Reyna.
There can be only one.
There can be only one.
Hello. I love it. And like all the moms were all like, "What time do we get done?" I'm like, I don't know. If I had to budget everything, I'm thinking 8. They're like, well, that says 7:30. I'm like, I'm thinking 8. Sure as shit, 8 o'clock. I'm like, oh, it doesn't like. I've only sat through like 12-hour dance competitions. I'm pretty sure I know how this runs.
Oh my goodness.
It's not enough to be right. It's just, okay, thanks. Yeah, no, they're not on. No, it's fine.
Y'all are silly. Y'all are absolutely silly.
How is that silly?
It's just, you know, it's like, all right, so
they should respect my authority.
I agree. I mean, we know better. Yeah. The April. I mean, I do.
Yeah, I know it.
Are we censored on this show?
Fuck no. When are we censored on my show? When have we ever been censored on my show?
Are we censored in what what I'm finishing up?
No, I don't give a shit what you're doing. Get it. Get at it. So here's another really cool one. Renee did this one. Oh yeah, you were trying to embarrass me. I see what happened.
I asked permission.
That's fine.
Consent was had.
You're so good. So
I'm a witness.
Getting into,
she did ask.
Thank you guys again. We just passed. We're already funded. We funded in 15 minutes. Thank you so very much.
Hot diggity.
But here's another beautiful one by Renee. I am.
There you go.
Man.
Dude, her Lilith Greed 4 cover. Dude.
Oh yeah, you haven't saved that yet, did you?
So I have it. Hold on, I'll show it to you. I'll show everybody her Greed. I love it. Like,
I'd say it's pretty good.
It's pretty decent.
It's pretty decent. It's
Pretty
pretty
near
one.
perfect. Tell you
Like,
what.
it's a pretty one.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
You know, we joke about this a lot. I am Shawnee. I mentioned it live the other night, but I'm ignorant anymore to all the art. Like, I don't get to see it anymore. So, like,
Dude, I
know
hadn't
all
seen
the
it either.
shenanigans on the other end of it, but I don't ever get to see the artwork anymore. So when it comes in, I am just as overwhelmed and excited as everybody else is because it's just super, super fun. And again, like I said, I don't get to see it, you know, so when it comes in, I get to be the hype man for it for sure.
Isn't that part of your job description? Hype man for the art?
Definitely. I could be the cheerleader for
Dude,
a theory.
I'm not even gonna lie. He's
rocking
my
that
Trojan
Cajun
horse.
accent and throwing that Cajun lingo and dancing around.
See, it's not even me anymore.
Hateful ass.
He's my Trojan horse for taxes. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't want that CEO stuff.
The inception has been set.
Yeah, Jesus. So speaking of beautiful covers, before we get into all the shenanigans,
oh man,
I am. You know, this is an artist that I've worked with for a very, very long time. And since like the third issue we put out, he's been on our books, and that would be Steph Wilson and Carrie Ann. And I think they grow as we grow. To be honest with you, I think his skill set grows like every issue he puts out. But this one was just so cute. It was stupid. Like, how adorable is that?
Fun. Yeah.
That's because Carrie cracks the whip and keeps him in line because that's.
I bet she does. You know, and then Nathan mentioned Vic Moya, who also did another beautiful one, and Vic is so talented, just so talented.
Yeah,
and another
we're working on him to get more work as well. So we'll get him. We'll see more later eventually. It'll be a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's funny, guys, because doing these two projects at one time now. You get to see artists that are on multiple covers, so you get to see what they're doing on different projects and stuff. Like we just showed you guys LC just a minute ago, but I wonder if Steph outsources background. I don't know, Russ. I don't know about that.
No, he will do it. He just complains bitterly about it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, like I said, here's another beautiful one by LC. And I'm just a big fan. I didn't get to see this one either until it was almost completely finished, and my mind was
welcome, everyone. You're welcome.
Oh yes,
that is
like what
the colors on that is, and again the butt shot.
Just
there you go.
In the fridge, baby.
That butt shot. I will continue. He is the butt master lately.
Oh yes. And then you saw the prelims for Kill Cam, right?
He gave us a bunch. He didn't give us all butts, but we wanted
he did too. Yes,
no,
he
didn't
did.
give all
We're all number 2.
No, he didn't give us all. Like he didn't give all 3 options were butts. They had other options.
No.
We're like, no, we're going with the
best one was butts. There's no getting around it. He's a champion butt man.
Yeah.
But then we've got Mitch Massey, of course. We all know he's amazing. So check that out. Like, man,
right?
Like the colors as well. Like, wow.
Yeah, we got Chris Hall on colors for that one.
Good grief,
Super
man. So
awesome.
Cool.
One little fact for you: the lead singer of Stabbing Westward is also named Christopher Hall. I don't think it's the same guy though.
Oh my God, that'd be
either, but I love me some Stabbing Westward.
Stabbing Westward's like that. That's what I used to rock out to, and then
they came back. There's a whole nother album that came out last year.
No
really?
Kidding?
I didn't even know that. See, I'm behind in the times. I need
get
to
on it. Get on it, y'all.
I need to.
Some bad ones and some Stabbing Westward.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of Mitch Massey, he did another Greed cover that was a crossover cover for Greed. I don't even know that we were intentionally trying to get a crossover cover, but he was having a lot of fun with what he was doing, so it came out super cute. The fact that there's a Agent C bunny in the claw machine blew my mind. I mean, to be fair, I'm easily amused at times, so it blew my mind.
Mhm.
No, I got giddy too. I was excited. I was like, no way, no way.
Yeah.
Easter
What?
eggs.
There's a sea back there.
I see a bunny.
I see the sea back there. I see what you did there.
I saw a bunny.
Yeah, I saw a bunny. And then, you got Steph Wilson and Carrie Ann also did their Greed cover.
Yep.
A good one.
Which
Yeah.
was super cute.
Oh, let me go get the puppy. I'll be right
I'm
back.
a big fan of his take on Cade. His Cades are so funny looking with these like huge googly eyes and this big old cheese ass grin every time we see him. So it's just really fun.
You can hear him go. Ugh.
Yeah, basically.
Waka waka waka.
Oh my gosh. So then you've also got another one from Vic Moya, and this one, man, like really got me in the art skills. Like I was like, man, holy crap.
Hell yeah.
Man,
Raw power.
dude, like, when I put out Greed, the first issue years ago, and we had written about putting in, Kugelain and stuff to be the Celtic god and whatnot, and I had avoided showing him off to people because there's all these fucking werewolf books, and I don't do a werewolf book, you know what I mean? So I was like, but he's a badass werewolf, so it was like, man, we gotta get him a cover at least once. So good looking. But as you guys know, we all do the wild covers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, here's a tamer one I can show you guys. Beautiful cover. Just beautiful cover. Shawnee, I don't send Shawnee too many wilds, so every now and then Shawnee will get a good wild. Speaking
I do
of
like the
wild
wild
covers, Shawnee, I pulled most of your order the other night, and
cool.
You have the release the lizard or free the lizard variant.
Yep. I couldn't resist. I had to.
Every time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Every time I see that cover, it makes me laugh because when I was so nervous to put that cover out, like I was real nervous about that cover. And now people are like blowing me up. And I'm like, well, I'm not printing any more of it. So, I mean, if you guys want to see, Meaty Boy Ricky and other poses, we might make it happen down the road. But that particular cover is not going to be reprinted. So
we're only in issue 4. So
well, I might have a few APs laying around. But other than that,
I'm going to do a free lizard variant for every issue from now on.
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't so much because of the wildness of it, which of course I don't mind. I think it's fun and I like that. But like you, I thought the title, just the title alone, amused me and made me laugh. And I said it was going to be very exclusive and everything else. I said I can't. That's check. I can't pass that up. So.
That's a winner.
It was it was so much fun to work on. Like you heard it from the man himself, Blayden Hunter's talking about now doing a Meaty Boy Ricky for every BGD cover, but it was something that stemmed from something fun for us, right? Like it all came from the whole hashtag Naked Dinosaur John Wick thing, and to do and almost like a call out when Nita called me out like live like a year and a half ago, or
got all the naked ladies, right?
It might be 2 years ago. She was like, "Hey, look. We got all these naked dinosaur chicks. Where's the dinosaur dick?" And I was like, okay. Real bar. Wasn't prepared for that on a live show. Wasn't ready for it. Hell, it got further, Shawnee. I don't know if you remember the rest of that conversation, but it started with, "Is he cut?" And I was like, "Oh, what?"
I do remember that.
I don't get red in the cheeks very often, but I was super red. What's going on, Peter? Oh, man. Peter does an amazing book about an incredible library where you can jump into stories. Peter's an incredible, talented individual. Really, really good dude. But, yeah, so she was all like, is he cut? And I was like, well, fuck. So I guess I better figure this out, right? So for issue 2, we did Ricky completely nude in the bathhouse for the whole book. But you didn't see anything because he was all in the tubs and everywhere else and doing like all real like crocodilian maneuvers and whatnot. And I remember thinking how amazing,
and shading.
dude. I remember thinking of how incredible you had done the pages for that book, and man, it was a good one. And then, but one thing that really sticks out to me was having a conversation with David Acampo about the blood in that book. And because you're in a bathhouse and there's humidity everywhere and there's water literally everywhere in the air. So it was like, let's figure out how to actually do blood in a better way than just have it splash out. And because it's going to get hot on the air, the bubbles and stuff and the water and humidity. So it was more almost like a mist. And it was such a really cool development that we went through with that particular issue.
Look at you getting all sciencey.
So I didn't have to draw it.
Yeah, right. At least you can do that with a brush. No, well, it's funny because we like we already try to suspend disbelief, right? Mm-hmm. We really do. We try to suspend disbelief. So if there are things that you guys are questioning,
strippers don't do it for you,
right? If the strippers don't do it, I don't know what does. But there's a concept where, like, if a gun fires, right? Like if you've ever worked in law enforcement or something of that nature, the military or anything. So, like, if you fire into glass, the bullet's not going to go straight. It actually moves. It just doesn't just break the glass. It moves its trajectory. Yep. If you fire into water, it moves its trajectory. There is no, I'm going to shoot the tire out of a fucking car. That shit's dumb. So it's just, there are things that we try to keep as realistic as we can possibly keep them, versus, having to also suspend this much of your disbelief, So like I said, I've said it before, and it was the greatest compliment I've ever gotten, was literally Devin Massey was like, by the time, before he was even working with us, he was like, by the time I was at page 3 of BGD, I forgot I was reading about dinosaur chicks.
Yep. It's funny. I know people listening and they're like, probably, well, talking about being as realistic as you can in, a comic about anthropomorphic dinosaurs or things like those. You would think those two things don't do it, but they really do. You have to in order to actually get that suspension of disbelief appropriately.
You have to write
you have to have that realism. You have to have that thing. So otherwise, it takes you too much out, and people go, "What the hell's this?"
Right. It's the reason I avoid superhero books.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like them. Mm-hmm. It's just that I can't put them out because I get so serious about what we're doing that I'm like, that's silly. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work for my writing style.
But you have been trying different things. Comedy.
We have been. I wrote a love story.
Yeah.
I did that. I had not done that before. That was a ton of fun, though. Frog Legs was super fun. It's just, that was oh my gosh.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for that one.
Oh my gosh. Like, unnecessary hair flips for the win. Like, seriously.
I know.
And
we need to get us
unnecessary hair flips.
Yes.
That's it. No, I really wanted you guys to have such a positive experience with a different genre from us. Than we normally do, So it was like, to be fair, we do a lot of different genres, but I wanted it to be a way that more people could relate to her than him, And even though Bastion's like our pivotal main character, so is Celine, though, And
oh my God, the cover, the covers you guys came up for that is just. Honestly, I mean, I love all your work, but some of the covers for Frog Legs, I think, so far are my favorite. I mean,
they were so fun.
Yeah, there's some amazing.
They were so fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, just ridiculously, but again, I attribute that to the team. You know what I mean? It's like when you've got, like, let's say that April is getting involved with something or going to do something. I always get excited about, I know the colors are going to be phenomenal, or if Blayden is working on something, I'm like, man, that's going to be really, really dope. like even if he's like, hey man, I'm gonna have it in like 5 minutes before we go time, it's gonna be like one of the best covers because it's just amazing, and I think
he's a rock star. So there you go.
That's a fact. But they're both phenomenal. But as we go forward and as we grow, we're getting to show you guys more and more talent. We're getting to show you more and more people. And, as we move into these new books, Cretaceous or, Where They Dwell or, There Be Shadows, it's one of those things where it's like, or, Kill Cam, these, so many different sets of hands are on these characters anymore that you guys get different types of style, different perspectives, different, you may have a comic book artist, but then you may have a cartoonist, try their hand at these characters. And it's just something that we have a really good time with. And not only are we moving in different cover styles, but if you look at Theater7 is Devin's style. That's his traditional style. There's nobody out there like Devin Massey. You know what I mean? There's no bullshit. Devin Massey's work if you see it. It's like Steph Wilson. Steph Wilson's stuff when you see it. It's just, it's like that. And with Devin, when we were younger, you had stuff like Cherry. Cherry was very, very popular. And I think that his stuff looks like a Cherry type of thing. It is a puppy. It is April's
I got distracted by the puppy.
Sorry. He's stinky baby, so I threw him in the sink.
You're not big enough for the tub yet. You get this.
God, no, I don't want to drown him, poor baby. But if he's gonna sit in my lap, he needs to
the floofinator.
Yes. He needs to be a little respectable in his smell.
Oh my gosh. But there's a concept where, like talking about different styles and stuff, we're going into different stylistic interiors. Like we've got our very first manga style book coming out in My Metal Girl, and that's exciting to us. Being able to create different styles and different types of product for different types of readers, and that was, to coin what you were talking about earlier, Shawnee, one of the reasons we put Theater7 together with Greed. Because if you've not seen Greed before, but you're a big fan of Theater7, you might check it out. You may enjoy it. It's something that may not be in your wheelhouse, and vice versa. You may be like, holy cow, that looks amazing because you enjoyed Greed, and then you hopped over and were like, oh man, Theater7 is pretty dope looking,
Or if you just want one or the other, you can just get the one and then it's both running at the same time, so it'll ship out about the same time too, right?
Absolutely. It'll come out the same orders. As I mentioned earlier, our new printers are phenomenal. They're such cool folks to work with. They have made it so easy for us to bring our products to them, and with a packed schedule, they were so good to us to be able to slip our stuff in with theirs, and we're very, very grateful. But when it comes to running the campaigns together, yes, absolutely. That was another reason we did it, so we could print at the same time.
And as a fan, I think honestly, once I realized that was the part of it, I think in the back of my head it clicked. I'm like, that I appreciate that because you're being very ambitious too in what your schedule and what you're putting out and everything else. So being able to combine, I think you're combining smart, like you said, different things. You have some fun with it, but knowing that I'm getting potentially 2 different titles at the same time, everything else, I'm like,
and it's also shaving and shipping.
Shaving and shipping.
It is shaving and shipping.
You're shaving the shipping pricing and saving on the shipping. Something
absolutely.
Like that.
Well, we got to. I looked at something the other day, and again, we're very thankful for all of our friends, all of our fans, our friends. Everybody involved, and Ethereal wouldn't exist without you guys. As awesome as the teams are, we value you as part of our team. So when I looked at, I had a gentleman that orders, he probably puts in $1,500 every other month into Ethereal, but he lives in Iceland, and
the shipping, holy crap,
is awful,
That's just That's gotta
And
be heinous.
yeah, a huge chunk of what he orders is in shipping.
Yeah.
And even using like coupons with Pirate Ship and everything else, it still comes out to be a large sum just for shipping. So April, you know, she spearheaded this whole deal, so everybody can be like, "Thank you, April, for saving us on shipping."
We love you,
If
April.
it works, if not, it's the dog's fault.
Yeah, whatever.
It's the dog's fault.
Don't blame the puppy.
Well,
the
you
puppy.
know,
For blame.
I'm just saying.
Or we blame the prairie dogs because it's that time of year for them, and they are funky this time of year. Let me tell you, because they get all musty.
Yep.
Oh, they
Yeah.
get musty this time of
We can
year.
blame them because sometimes they're little assholes. So it's like,
Oh my gosh, they are, and they're the sweetest little things. But if they get upset, they get musty, and it's only this time of year. It's the strangest thing. And then the bottom of my house smells like an old library for like a day.
That's not like the worst thing.
No,
but odd.
but if you're
but not the
close
worst.
and you catch a condensed dose of dense library, it's not great, I promise. Because it starts smelling like burnt library, and it's just
that's not good.
But you can't take their glands out because it's, well, at least nobody in our area can. So, and I'm not paying $1,000 to take them outside the state to get it done. So
they're your funky kids. So
yeah, they can be funky for a little bit. My normal kids are funky, so you know they come in from school or whatever, sweaty and whatnot, and you know it. So
I just had a conversation with the vet yesterday when little man went to his first appointment, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well that probably is because he's happy and his anal glands leak." I'm like, "Oh, no." So I picked him up and I'm like, "Oh look, you get a bath."
Oh yeah. Well, just wait
guys.
until you have to like expunge those glands.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I don't do the butt stuff.
No, you don't do the butt stuff.
I don't do the butt stuff. No.
Oh man.
No.
So anyway,
yeah, we got that. Maybe we should talk about comics.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I need an adult.
I need an adult. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway.
There's no adults here.
So
no grown-ups.
So let's, Shawnee, you've read Greed.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Greed in your first foray into Greed?
I found it interesting because it's a different perspective because essentially you're seeing it from the eyes of a child.
Right.
And I found that's a different perspective. So that caught me and brought me in. And then the art, of course, got me in. It's just, and I don't know. It's like, you know, Cade is sometimes, most of the time I like him, but I'm always suspicious of him.
Yeah. Well, I think you should be. I mean, I think that's how we want people to view the character. You know what I mean? He's got his own agendas. He's got his own thing going on. Yeah. So we try to make sure that you never have a feeling of being too comfortable with the character. Yeah, you've always got to have a little bit of, you know, caution when you're dealing with a monster or a demon or, you know, just
everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, and from a kid's perspective, I mean, I know it's not a kid's book, but from Oz's perspective, it was a little different. It was interesting to re-evoke those feelings of not being certain the monster under the bed isn't real. And that's the feeling that when of issue 1, that's what I got from that.
Yeah, I dig that.
I kind of looked at it, it made me laugh. I enjoyed it, but after a while, I was looking at my closet, going, "Is it right? You know, there's in there. Okay, good."
So April did a cover for issue 1, and the cover that she did was so much fun because it was literally like, I was like, "Well, here's the concept," and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is, you know, what I feel like when I think of something like that." And when she sent it to me, I was like, "Holy shit!" I remember it's actually an image of Cade and Oz under a bed with a flashlight. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I remember being that kid, you know, going under my bed with the flashlight or hiding under my blanket, like literally sleeping with it wrapped and tucked under my head because I was scared of the dark. You know, and
one of those raised beds, you had to be careful because you didn't want to put your foot down.
Yeah, you didn't want your feet hanging off. Absolutely. Right. Yep. And I think that the book evokes a reminder of that. And that's an interesting concept.
Yep. That's well for me. That's like you said, that was one of the first
it.
feelings that I got from that was that feeling of what's lurking.
Yeah. What's licking my fucking toes?
But what's lurking around the corner and under the bed and in the closet? I'm like, oh.
Speaking of licking toes and comic books, so I was talking to Devin Massey today about Theater 7 issue 3. And so just so everybody knows, there's gonna be some penny feats in issue 3 of Theater 7.
Well, you'll have to send me the link and some of the samples, and I think I know some people that might be interested.
It's gonna be a fun issue. I'm excited about it.
You need to have her label crossover.
Oh my gosh.
Oh goodness.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm gonna let you run with that.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm afraid and intrigued all at the same time.
Oh, if I would have known, I would have made a cover, but the damn thing launched already.
Oh my gosh. So when it comes to books like Theater 7, right, and working with people like Devin Massey, who's absolutely fucking incredible, but it's like he's been doing Cavewoman so long and doing lewd humor so long that there's nothing I say that he has not thought of or have wanted to do in the past and been unable to, right? So yeah, I hope you guys are ready for this issue. Issue 2 is going to be super fun. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it.
Can they really ever be truly ready? I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's truly ready for what we put out until they get it. But
exactly,
I think that we have a style.
We enjoy the anticipation.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, y'all are a mess.
I am the real live witch hazel from
real life hazel
from Looney Tunes.
You're a real life something, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, I give up. Y'all are a mess. Y'all are an absolute mess.
But you love us.
Like I was saying earlier, we've got some really exciting news going on. I put out an update for one of the campaigns just a few minutes ago, and it's literally like we're excited because I mentioned, Shawnee, that our printer's been able to slide us in. And the cool thing is, like, right now, while we're shipping out BGD, they're shipping us Fallen Leaves right now. And
cool. Yes.
Yeah, so we're literally within the next week and a half we'll have Fallen Leaves here. And it's like, so we've managed to get on their schedule to this point where if everything goes right, they can ship us books like every 2.5-3 weeks. And that's fucking awesome. So next month, you'll have all of BGD out this month within reason. There may be a couple that go out at the end of beginning of next month. Sorry, and then you've also got. Oh my goodness. So let me ask you something, April. I'm very curious.
Whoa, what?
I'm a curious individual. Like I'm a fan of the felines. So let me ask this.
Wait, do I need to do this?
No, not in the least. I don't give a shit.
I think it's a little late for that.
I don't know.
We know what it looks like. Most of us are fans of Kitty, so we're gonna let that just do what it does. But what I'm saying is, you took a different direction than we took with her hands, and I'm curious as to why you went that route.
Oh, interesting. Is it different?
Yeah, your hands are very like animalistic, and we were
very, very much more paw-like than than hands.
We're just curious. I'm just
I just noticed that. Yeah.
Well, I looked at it. And
maybe
they're
gloves. Maybe they're gloves.
Maybe they're gloves. I like them hips, though. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. No, they're well. I mean, come on, with the Kinktober challenge, straight out the gate, somebody asked for seahorse mermaids, hippocampuses with knives. I'm like,
yeah, that was wild.
I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah. Who thought of that?
Whatever you want, dude.
Well, I thought of it, but it was not like an easy thing. I had to come back to it. I was like, oh,
Gonna process that for a minute, huh?
yeah. I'm not like, usually I
kind of
need
play are
like
you
day
doing with
10
that,
by
bud?
the time I get that ambitious, but sure,
Oh,
whatever.
goodness.
No, it was just different.
Well, they all came out so good looking, dude.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, no bullshit. They all came out
Mhm.
really good looking. And everybody's ideas were so cool, though. Like, I mean, I got to see them all and that she had done, and I just thought they were awesome. You shipped your pants? Where'd you ship your pants to?
I'm
right.
afraid to ask. Honey, where
Okay,
am
y'all
I,
just
man?
wanted to pop in and say hi. Congrats on the launch. Thank you so much.
That's Miss Sarah. Sarah Hupler.
Oh,
gotcha.
Sarah!
We love
Yeah,
Sarah.
she stopped
Sarah's
in to
so
say
kind.
hey.
Excellent.
Is that Sarah too? Because we love Sarah.
Yeah, that was also the Sarah. So.
And
Yeah.
Joshua Main. Love
And
Josh.
Joshua,
Josh, a good
yeah.
dude. Oh, man. See, I wish it would just show anybody that would, that chats. You know what I mean? I don't know. I need an intern.
Well, part of it too is that a lot of it, especially with Facebook, it's the StreamYard. So
Yeah.
every 6 months you have to like renew. It was too funny. I was on, and then it showed, and then I had the Facebook on the main chat here on the prayer side, so I had to go back and redo mine so I could show up again.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Right on.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I definitely want to, would love to get an intern. Intern would be super, super good.
yes.
One day
One day.
I will have an
One day.
intern. One of these days.
Yes.
Even if it's my daughter, if I have to make her my own intern,
There you go.
it'll
Child
happen.
labor.
Child labor, that's
It
it.
works.
Family
business.
I pay her, so I can't get in trouble for child labor if I don't pay her.
So, family farm.
Yeah, that's right. So, Russ mentioned mid-campaign covers. We've actually got a couple covers you guys haven't seen. So we're waiting on a couple of them. We'll put it that way. Well, everybody knows Lena is a member of our team. We just haven't put that cover out yet.
Okay.
So that's going to be a real good one. Happened to see part of it already. And it was perfect cool. I dig it. I dig it a lot. Speaking of, again, really cool covers, we had our good buddy Jim Broomall, talk about a cover a little bit. So that'll be exciting. Shawnee, did I show it to you? Did you get to see that cover? It was...
Yeah.
Okay, right on. I couldn't remember if I had or not. So...
Well, she was like, show it to us. She did a teaser.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Right. I brought it up that she dropped a teaser of it, and so you were nice enough to do a little more larger.
No, it's beautiful. So next month's duo combination of releases is Underland and whatchamajigget?
Kill Kim.
Kill Kim.
I'm so excited for that one. It's ridiculous.
Oh man,
that is
going to be beautiful.
That's gonna be really awesome merge too. That's going to be really neat.
It's just, like you said, it's the idea was to keep them different. So now you're talking about fantasy and sci-fi.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but they're beautiful. You know what I mean? They're beautiful, and it's stuff that you would expect from the brand. It's storytelling like you would expect. There's, but it's just like, I love the character concepts that we're developing and we're putting out for people. Like, especially with the different artists who put out their concepts and their versions of the characters. Like, I mean, so like Justin Hunt, right? He's a good dude. So when Justin decided to do a cover for Greed 2, and he created this like battle garb for Lilith, and everybody saw it, everybody ran with it.
I stole the heck out of that.
Yeah.
I think everybody
was skill-worthy. It was gorgeous.
Everybody ran with
so
it.
Good.
Yep.
So I was immediately like, well, okay, what I mean? If that's what we're doing. And so, but it's interesting because, again, the artists, not just the writer, are the lifeblood of what you're reading and what you're getting. You know, they're putting out stuff their own style. They're going to make characters to their own, you know, perspective when they read things. Like, I don't want to give away too much for projects we're working on, but there's who am I? I love giving away things. That's not even true. I love
everything. It doesn't bother you. Come on.
I seriously have to like do an asterisk. Like, this is for your eyes only.
Right.
It is not worthy of putting out yet.
So there's, you know,
we've
we're
been down that
working on
road.
a book right now called There Be Shadows, and the artist reached out to me, he reached out to me in April in an email. Actually, to be fair, he reached out to April, and I just get fucking tagged in things. But
no, I needed somebody. I needed an adult. I'm glad you helped.
I figured she didn't have the answers for the questions, and I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was trying to be helpful. You know?
No, you were. Thank you.
He was like, "Hey, can I design these characters?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, okay." You know what I mean? It's an ongoing series, and you're doing the book. I mean, by all means, you know, if you want it to look this way and it makes sense, let's have it look this way and make sense. So it's like when I write something, I still depend on the people laying the lines to bring it to life, you know. So I always get excited when people are like, well, you know, can we add this, or can we do this, or can we, you know what I mean, shift this or do that. Let me tell you something. When it comes to Theater7 and everybody working on it, I'm like a sponge. Like, I'm a sponge. Because they'll be like, well, what do you think of this color? Or I'm like, yes, fuck yes, let's do that color. You know,
Justin turns into the ultimate yes man.
Yeah, you know, or can we do, you know, what do you think about this concept? Or what is, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when we started talking about the second arc of the book being in the Anaconda spoof, it was like, I remember Devin going, "You got to have dick jokes," and I was like, "What?" And it was like, you know, and it was one of the most profound things anyone had ever said.
There has to be a Sir Mix-a-Lot pun in there somewhere, or some sort of reference.
It just had
I don't want none of those
right?
jokes.
It just was like, well, because you know, most of the books we put out, it's as lewd as we get. It's still like we still try to be respectful, you know what I mean, and in everything that we put out. And
that's my fault,
right? Well, to be fair, he keeps me in line pretty well for the most part. And April picks up the slack wherever I start getting a little wild. But it was like, he was like, you know, for Theater7, make sure you do all of the locker room humor and the locker room talk. I was like, no. And he was like, trust me on this, do this. And I was like, are you sure? He was like, literally, like, if you laughed about it as a young
it has
dude,
to be in there. Exactly.
You need to put it in there.
Yeah.
You know,
most people still have the humor of a high schooler anyways, so yeah.
Yeah, you know, well, I mean, because the book's based in the 90s, so if it was something that I was laughing about in my youth, it should probably be, you know, added. So I went with it, like, wholeheartedly in issue 2. So if you guys enjoy it, let me know, because I will continue to run with it and go ham on this whole let Devin Massey influence me type of thing. So
I think you do a good job of in especially the humorous parts, but of it being raunchy without being overly.
Well, that's the goal.
Nasty, yeah. I mean, because you know, raunchy's fun, raunchy's sexy, raunchy's fun, and everything else, and it's, you know, it can be a little giggly, a little silly, and everything else, without going.
There's a scene in this one that even had my wife go, "Huh, what?" So
now I really can't wait.
Yeah, had Devin excited, and Heather was like, "What the shit?" So, it was fun. It was really, really fun to put together. You know, the concept of, you know, Return to the Future was fun anyway. You know, because they joked a lot about it in the original film. You know, with dude trying to sleep with his mom. You know what I mean? Like, the whole deal was like, you know, but we act like we don't know that's what's happening, and that's literally what was occurring. So when we started putting it together, I was like, well, that's it. That's the concept. You know, she's got to stop him from sleeping with his mom, and that's that's the film. So this particular issue, you get drawn into the relationship with him and Penny. Like he's a young dude, his hormones are all over the place, and he's got these cute chicks that want him to hang out and stuff. While Penny, on the other hand, is like, hey, cool, it's, we're trying to go home, and he's like, but hey, I can get some strange while I'm here, is pretty much the deal. And we'll see how it all pans out for him. But it goes from very, very fun, very, classical humor when it comes to Devin Massey humor. But then it gets real serious and like heartwarming almost. The bond that we create between these particular characters, it becomes a very good friendship that was honestly not intended to happen until I started writing it and getting into it, and I was like, oh man, we need to go this route with these two characters.
Is this one of those situations where the characters kind of take a life of their own and say, hey, Dustin, I want to do this, so you better write it?
Absolutely. Well, that goes hand in hand with the fact that I don't do any dialogue until after I look at the pages. So it's, and
it's laugh still about that. Like, how are you? I don't know. I get it, but at the same time, I don't, because I got to know how much background to put around it, or like how big the dialogue bubble is going to wind up being, so that I can. It's just a different way of doing it. Not that it's bad; it's just different.
Yeah, I have a harder time wrapping my head around it. I mean, I get it, and it's working, but the concept is like.
It was scary to start it. Like, it was real scary to start it, because it was like I had never done it before, and until I started working with Blayden, I'd never done that. But when you get to
find it, then you have more opportunity to kind of find the story. It keeps it fresh, and it keeps it more exciting for you creating it as well, if you have it kind of half mapped out.
Well, I like to be able to give you guys creative freedom, and that's very important to every book that we put out with Ethereal. You need to be able to have creative freedom, but when it comes to certain things like dialogue, I know what I want to occur in a scene beforehand. You know what I mean? I've already got it all mapped out what I would want to see, but at the same time, I also give you the artists like concepts of facial expressions and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I give them the event as it's unfolding and an idea of what's going down when it comes to the dialogue. I just don't give exact dialogue. Like, I'll be like,
well, that makes more sense.
Like Ricky is angry at this individual because the individual said something. Right. So they can
convey the background and the emotion of the scene without needing
the facial expressions and stuff like that. Absolutely. Okay. I never want them to have to be blind to things, but I also want them to be able to convey the life that they feel like should be happening.
That makes more sense. I can see it a little better in my head. Not that matters, but
no, it certainly matters. I mean, it certainly matters. Like, I mean, it's so.
Well, I'm not a part of the creative process, so.
Well, it matters because, again, I care about everybody's opinions that read our books. I really do, and it becomes something where, like, right now, if you get into if it hops, right, I will have a conversation with Blayden about the entire story that we're going into before we start talking about pages. So you have an idea of where the book is starting and where it's ending before we even get into what I want the pages to look like or what I want to happen per page, so on and so forth. But I think that the more you work with people that have been in the industry for a time, and have a little bit of salt on them, a little bit of gray in their hair from it, it becomes almost like second nature to them. They're expecting you to know X, 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 and X. So now it's like, if you work with Devin comes out and he's like, hey, I did this, and this. You didn't tell me to, but it looks great, right? And it'll look great. It really will. It'll look great. And you're like, whoa, man, whereas it come and as in a different style with Blayden, it's like I leave him the opportunity though to make the panels the way he would like to do the panels. I tell him what I'd like to see, but I don't make him do it from a perspective or anything. I'm like, hey, look, this is what I want to see on the page. How would you perceive what I want to see? So as long as it's got this, and this in it, I'm okay with what you do on the page. Versus like the listener, when I was putting the listener out before, it was like I would literally go panel by panel with the artist, like every single panel, and I just got to the point where, and they've teased me about it before, I don't have time to do that anymore. There's no way possible.
Is that part of your, I guess, creative, your growth, but your creative growth as well? Is that being able to allow more of that creative freedom?
I think so. Yeah. Well, it's also like when you first start out, and it's going to sound really strange, but I think we're selfish when we first start out. And it's not selfish about the product, and it's not selfish about the, anything you're doing for the fans or anything like that. You're not trying to keep people from things. But it's selfish when you're insofar as your story, your artwork. You when you begin, you don't have a team that is seeing the same vision you're seeing, or investing like you're investing. So, but when you
have you ever heard the phrase, you have to kill your babies when it comes to the artwork and things like that?
I don't know anything about dead babies, but I know that
I've heard throw the baby out with the bathwater, but
there you go. Chuck the baby with the bathwater.
You have to be able to let your creations go, and sometimes they either have to go find their way in the world, or you have to like destroy them, or you have to really you have to know what to fight for,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like, as a creator, you have to be able to let them wander out into the world. I totally get that. I think it's a very
some of them survive and some of them get a little decimated. So it just
like little baby turtles. Bye.
That's right.
Oh, the baby turtles.
But it's very intimate, right? Like when somebody reads BGD, it's like they're peering into my soul as a human being. Like it really is. It's every aspect. Like what did Mog Park ask me if I was a serial killer the other night?
No, she asked if you were a psychopath because you seem to try to like kill everybody, and I thought I was being funny because he has an addiction to eating cereal, and he's gonna have to give that up. And I called him a cereal. Like Kellogg's killer.
The breakfast cereal killer, yes.
Right. So, because I thought it was funny, but apparently that might have taken it one step too far.
Right.
Who, April?
I thought it was funny.
I know, right? Well, because it totally worked because we were corresponding through Messenger, and like the joke landed for sure from the pun because I spelled it correctly.
Yeah.
And then he's all like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "No. There's a difference between cereal like FBI versus cereal like Kellogg." Is pretty much the response I got. My mom jokes fall flat every time. It's awful.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I've never been called any kind
psychopath?
of psychopath or anything. So,
well, I wouldn't take it seriously. I mean, I think I know a lot of writers and creators who technically would probably be psychopaths because there's a lot of killing going on in comics. So.
It's like, man, I don't know. It's again, April hit the nail on the head the other night, right? It's like when you start talking about people that read novels, or you talk about people that, read, epic poems or whatever, and or manga or comics or however, whatever you get into. As children, right?
Mm-hmm.
We grow, and most people. There's not that there's anything wrong with still reading children's stories. Okay, whatever you read, your business.
Good, because I still do.
Right. As you grow, your content grows. And like, I know people that sit around and watch murder documentaries all the time, but I've never once thought they were going to kill people. You know what I mean? It's just the concept of it. Like, as a creator, I am very in tune because of the way we're writing now, which is still shenanigans, but I'm very in tune with my characters, and I'm very in tune with their feelings and how they would react. And, so, it's almost like, oh my gosh, it's almost like having to, like, I'll use If It Hops for example. So If It Hops has underlying story, like layer upon layer upon layer of underlying story that these characters are dealing with, that you guys will see and come up with, and everything else. Like, everybody thinks the panda's the big villain, so I think that's hilarious. I think it's funny. Everybody's got ideas, and I get these ideas like a couple times a week from people, and it's just, they're great. They're guessing, and it's great. But some people
That means they're invested, which is good.
Well, they've come up with some interesting concepts.
I'm sure they have.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that's funny, or that's wild. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where, If It Hops, I had to learn how to lie to myself, and it makes you sound batshit crazy, because you've got a character that you're writing, but now you're writing it from a perspective of another character that doesn't have the knowledge that the character you were just writing does.
So you have to suspend your own disbelief in order to accurately write the character the way they would react.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to delve into the mindset of an individual to make it believable. Just like taking $15 language courses that you can't.
No proof.
Same difference.
Man is a sham. He's a liar.
Same difference.
You ain't got
I
no
will
receipts.
send you links, and you can watch them too, and then I'll make you talk like
Pixar
that.
didn't happen.
I'm old enough to do it. I'll do it.
I will too.
I hate it for you.
I will too.
Oh my God, you guys suck. So,
I'm gonna get me a cheap bottle of whatever, and I'll be like, I'll show you.
Oh my God, you keep that cheap bottle of whatever until the end of this campaign. You keep that cheap bottle, and I tell you what. If we hit 20,000 on this campaign, I will get shitty and speak 3 different languages live.
English, bad English, and Spanglish don't count.
Right.
Well, I wasn't going to say bad English.
I don't know.
Going to say bad Spanglish.
I grew up in the 90s, and that was on a T-shirt. I learned it. Did.
I'm learning a lot of lingo living in Tennessee right now, so don't mess with me.
Oh, I can. Yeah.
Well, I'm learning lots of lingo.
I don't know. I feel like every time you challenge me with not messing with you, I just kind of come back with like twice as much shit.
I don't know why, but that does seem to be a factor.
I know. I'm real sorry about that. It's a genetic fault.
I look at it like a sibling thing. Like, it's
yes.
I'm real sorry.
Fun and dysfunctional family. That's what I got. So
yeah.
If nothing else, it keeps everything very fresh, very honest, and above board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we all keep each other
entertained.
Not just entertained, but we all keep each other straight, I guess, in a way that we don't have to worry, because even if one of us falls, the other one will pick us up. And I think that's a very powerful concept.
For all the teasing that you do, all the joking, and you do rib each other, and the sibling rival, whatever else, y'all are really very much a team, and it shows.
Yeah, I mean,
you support each other, you laugh with each other,
I wouldn't be able to
celebrate the wins, and you console on the lows, and the
yeah,
it's all good.
I honestly would not be able to do it without the two of them. I like when
you try, and you would hurt yourself.
Probably like severely hurt myself. I did it by myself to start, and it was so much more stressful than it is now. And there's business stress. There's always going to be business stress because that's just part of it. But it's like when you have people you can rely on, though, even if it's just to take a minute to tell them you appreciate them or to ask them just to listen to you. They don't need to say anything. You know what I mean? It's just, hey, can you just give me 5 seconds of your time? And it can literally change your perspective, and to work with people that are so talented, it's a phenomenal thing for me because yes, I can write. Yes, I know what I want to see. Yes, I used to be able to draw really well, but currently we all have our Achilles heel. We all have kryptonite. We all have, something that, well, other than the puppies don't seem to have any kryptonite. Other than leaving Snicker bars on the floor at April's house. You know what I mean? They just walk around, drop little Snickers, and the baby steps on them. And
oh my God, I have punted this dog like 4 times across my kitchen. I'm just like, I'm too fast for him. Oh, poor baby.
Oh my goodness.
But let's under your feet next to you. Woo!
I know. I'm like, and then he's gone. I'm like a hockey puck.
He's just gone. I know. Furry little fucking thing.
Little slip and slide floofinator.
I feel very connected with the dog. I mean, really, his worst enemy is going to be that refrigerator door.
Oh no!
What?
Oh no!
I know. I gotta
You'll never get him back.
I gotta double check every time I open and close that damn thing. It's awful.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not quite the same, but our family cat would do that. My mom would be in the kitchen, we'd be in there, and the cat would immediately come and lay right in front of the fridge.
Yeah.
And for a while there, she was small enough. You open the fridge, it would just scoot over her because it was just high enough. And then she got a little large, and next thing that was like the fridge, and the cat would slide.
Well, he sticks his fucking head in there, like he's trying to find something, I'm just like, it's not gonna work out in his favor. I've just never had a dog this small before, ever. Like, he's smaller than a cat. He is 3.5 pounds of floof. Stop chewing my finger.
Little thing. So tell me what you're doing over there, Mr. Hunter.
Yes.
I'm drawing.
Well, drawing what, good sir?
Okay.
What you drawing?
This is related to these characters. All right. Yeah. So.
Oh, and I was going to ask you for a close-up a little because I earned that.
All right.
That's gorgeous.
That looks awfully familiar.
So she is the mentor. This is her right here. The light is just not amazing, but
that's all right. We got her.
All right. Yeah. And then this is Big Sis. She'll be head of the family dynasty, but they're kind of kicked out right now from the main area, so they're going to be just doing some mercenary work way up north. And she is in the middle right here. So she'll usually have her hair tied kind of in bands, I guess. And then this will be the younger sister, which I don't think I have one down here. I had one upstairs, but it was yeah. So here we go. There's the 3 of them. Yeah. There's little sis. Yeah.
Very cool.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, very.
So this is gonna be this might be the cover. We'll see. Maybe in 3 or 4 months I'll be like, oh no, I hate it. I'm gonna do it again.
I see
does that happen often? I'm just curious. I mean, usually when you draw something out, is
for
it
me most of the time, because I'm working ahead so much. So like right now I'm more than halfway done with BGD 4, so I'm knocking those pages out, and then I'm gonna be hitting Kill Cam a bit more, which is already turning out really nice as well. And then this one, and then I'm pretty much gonna have another project outside of this, but then I'll be ramping back towards BGD and Kill Cam again in the fall. But the whole time I'm art directing and getting other people ready. And
you're also working with Alberty on Frog Legs. You've got you've also got a gentleman
on the Listener and the and Greed. So
you got a guy taking over if it hops.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if you guys wanted to announce that. That's dangerous news.
So I imagine, though, like you said, since you are generally working so far ahead, I would imagine that as you come back to things or read it, then your perspective has changed oftentimes.
Yes, I often, and I'm not my biggest fan. So
your biggest critic is you.
Yeah, like within a week, I'm gonna be like, I really should have done like 14 things better on that picture. So. Yeah.
And it's funny because they'll be great, you know what I mean? But he
thinks.
But there's 1,000 ways to look at something and go, I think if I would have done this, I could have explored it a little bit more, or laid out the panel a little easier on the next page.
Yeah, you don't really get that time with sequentials because it's like boom, 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 next. But yeah, the covers and the pinups and the promo pieces is definitely a little bit more a more dense saturation that you kind of have to deal with.
Do you sometimes wish you weren't working so far ahead? I mean, just because of that, or
if I'm not working too far ahead, if I'm not working too far ahead, I'm probably getting bored, and then I run off and do like 13 pages for a secret project without telling Dustin, and then I'm like, oh, these kind of don't look so great, and then I come back and go, I'm sorry.
but I really am though.
The script is still there. We'll hire someone else though, because.
Well, we appreciate it just being, not that you're your biggest critic, but working so far ahead because, for us, I mean, like it's with the ambitious schedule and everything else, it's great to know then we're not waiting on that. I mean, it's
they're at it, dude. Like,
exactly. So for us from a fan perspective, then we're like, yes.
I'm trying to get like concepts done too. Right? So my covers for Kill Cam and then some of the concepts and stuff like that, like even just like some of the bad guys that are going to be in it, that's done way ahead of time so that if people do want to use these characters and if they want to do the actual characters, the main characters for the book, if they want to do those correctly, then they have a model that they can work with ahead of time. So it's all part of the game.
Blayden has to do all the character throwdowns at the beginning, even if
initially. I mean, our artists, and they can fix them and change them. Like I don't know if there be shadows. Like if they're making changes, it's going to be their characters in the book. Like I'm not drawing that book, so I want the artist to be comfortable with it, and like trying to work with people's styles as well. Like,
we hadn't done the twins yet. So there are two characters in There Be Shadows that are just two young boys, and we had not given designs for those characters because it was like they weren't main characters. Right. So we were giving the artists the ability to do what they wanted with those characters.
I want everybody to be at the top of their game too. So I mean, I'll see pages from someone who has a style that's 100% different than mine, and I couldn't draw like that, and they couldn't draw like me. But I can be like, okay, so for storytelling wise, let's work on this. And hey, your style is really good at this piece, like this point. Right. Maybe if you push this a little bit, it would really excel. So
I admire you as an art director or your art director hat, being able to do that, because that's not always easy, I think, to recognize and be able to work with a style that is different from your own. So
it is definitely
that, how it works for the story is impressive.
Thank you.
I think that he's again, I think that I think Blayden Hunter and April Reina are ethereal. I mean, it's a very interesting concept when you come out and like I associate with them with the brand. Even if it wasn't me at per se looking at them, I would associate them with the brand because everything that the brand has, they're embedded in or, like interwoven in what happens with it. Every single page that comes out of Ethereal goes before Blayden Hunter before it comes out. Every single page, or it's supposed to. We're getting people in that groove, every now and then.
So it's understandable. Like and we're evolving and growing all the time too. So
it's a new style. You know what I mean? You're taking people that have never worked in a bullpen essentially, and then asking them to work in a bullpen without physically being in the bullpen.
Like, here's the rules.
I can't even tell you how exciting it is that I've got colorists that are like, "Hey, I'm ready for the next thing. When's it coming in?" And I'm like, "Ha! Oh, you love us." I literally have had 3 colorists contact me in the last week, and they're excited and ready.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Now I just need to get the work in. I'm like, oh man, I'm so excited.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Totally awesome.
It is so awesome. Like every bit of it is just so awesome. But it's something where like right now we as individuals are continuing to learn and grow too. We're learning the nuances of being so like, what it's like when you see a young person that's getting between between 12 and 15, where they're learning how to be young adults. They're learning, but they haven't quite mastered what they're doing just yet. Where it's like I don't think we fit the mold of a normal indie comic book company. I don't think we fit it. And that's not knocking anybody else's company. That's not knocking out anything anybody else does. But at the same time, I don't know anybody that's doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? And so I can't, like we joked about that before. I have no peers. Yeah, I don't have any peers to talk to. Like when it comes to, hey, look, like all my friends are in the industry, yes, but none of them are doing what we're doing. So there's no like safe haven for me to go, hey, buddy, what did you do at this point in time? What did you think, or what made it work for you?
We're kind of building the aircraft or parachute on our way down.
Right. It's literally like, I had when we first started, I kind of divert people nowadays, but when we first started, we'd get a lot of, how did you do this? How did you do that? How did you succeed? How did you know what I mean? I kind of send those people off in different directions to gain their knowledge anymore. But I don't have any guide to that type of thing, because what we do may not work for you, or when it comes to, talent, I'm very grateful that I knew a bunch of people. You know what I mean? I'm very grateful that I had friends in this business that wanted to lift me up. I don't know that everybody has that, so it's like, yes, I still feel like I am the redheaded stepchild. You know what I mean? Like,
which is so funny.
We're just like, we could talk to people. You know what I mean? We could talk to Tom. We could talk to, we could talk to Brian. We could talk to all kinds of people. You know what I mean? But their stories are different. The way their business is built is different. And so it's like, again, Blayden just said it. We're literally building our own shit as we're going.
Yep.
And it's a phenomenal experience to watch these cats become vested, and to watch them give a shit, and to watch them want to excel, and not just because their own personal benefit or their own personal gain, but they want to excel with the other people they're working with. Dude, look, when we got Devin on the same book as Dan Kemp, I about peed. like I for real about peed. there's
feeling when you're not excited.
I think I talked about it for like a month and a half before I kind of like calmed down a little bit.
Pretty sure you're still talking about it, so that's pretty good.
That's okay.
I'm pretty, yeah. I said the same thing when I got Blayden together with David Acampo, because I was like, that's fucking peaches and cream. You know, that's the two of those guys work together. Like, it's awesome to watch. You know, and I think that as the more we grow, you'll start seeing more and more artists with more and more different colorists, you know, and it's fun. It's like, what was that? Like, my daughter plays this game right now, this like
Candy Crush.
No. It's like this mineral game though, where like you've got your elemental table and you're putting things together to see what they would make together, you know, and every time it makes something, it doesn't always work, but when it does, it's like this majestic thing that pops up. Like you get some cool ass thing like a goddamn unicorn for putting this and this together, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, that's badass. So that's what I feel like whenever we get together and we put an artist with a colorist that just really jives with what they've got going on, you know, you're just like, fuck, that's really good.
That synergy makes it bigger than the sum of its parts. You have created
synergy.
Synergy is yes, sir. It's
I know words.
Right. I know big words. Amalgamation. No, it's a really, really cool thing to watch, you know. And when it comes to like, I'm a post-it guy, right? Like I'm a post-it guy all day. Like I've got sticky notes every which way and everywhere.
He's a post-it girl in a post-it world.
That's exactly what it is. See? Shawnee knows. So it's like, but when April comes in and she's like, hey, let me teach you organization. It's just like, oh, fuck. Is that real? That sounds like some kind of strange ass magic shit.
Some strange voodoo that
There's been like 3 times.
And then he offers to help, and I'm like, no, don't touch it.
Oh my gosh.
There's been like 3 times
that I've gone through and properly. Who does that?
Oh man, she's great.
Oh, it's just an incredible experience, and I think that you guys will start seeing more and more really, really cool stuff because we're getting to put more and more people together. We're putting more and more projects together. And I know everybody's jonesing, you know, for some of these books. And that's an exciting thing because, you know, to be able to be like, hey, you know, now all of a sudden we can literally do this, this, and this because of all these people that are involved. You know, it's like a crock pot of cool shit, you know.
Have you even
boil, toil and trouble?
Yes, exactly. Speaking of that, Shawnee, speaking of Halloweeny stuff, and witchy stuff, I'm really excited about this year's Halloween stuff. Oh, I am so excited.
Well, if you're excited about it, then that means the rest of us should be excited about it.
So see, because again, we're learning, right? We're learning more than we have. You know, we first started, we were like the wee babe, and now we're like, you know, overly hormonic teenager.
Say teen years, oh boy.
Right.
Teen.
We've got the angst. So this year, instead of doing our Halloween stuff in October, we're starting them in August, September. Yeah, one of them. To have out in October.
Yeah.
So we're really
pre-planning. Look at you.
I know. I'm getting better.
April's organizational skills are starting to rub off.
That's it. 100%. Yep.
I'm telling you. But the cool thing is, it'll be because of the way we're releasing books now. There it is, right there. Magic books.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Just fact checking you.
September.
This is how it starts.
Kick Dustin in the dick. That's how it goes. Call Oz. Send Oz in there and punch him in the cock.
That's right.
Life. But so we're gonna, since we're doing these 2 books together thing, we're gonna release actually a short story,
Okay.
a mini series.
Yeah,
if you will.
we'll have everything started in July, so it'll be ready by August, and probably launch, end of August, September. So we'll have it printed and shipped
You
early.
can film it for Halloween.
I was close.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it really depends on if the 2 books a month thing works. There's nothing like trying something and going, oh yeah, we can do this better, or finding the hangups of like how to streamline it and make it better. Sometimes it's just not going to work. Sometimes a campaign will be stronger individually. Oh,
Yeah, well,
my God. Every time you guys talk about 3 books a month, I want to literally send somebody to go punch you in the teeth.
Whatever, I only have to do my part, so I'm not. You're taking the brunt of that.
I don't know. I love y'all, but I don't know honestly if I could afford 3 books a month. I mean, that's
right.
And that's something that we've all talked about. It eventually we have, I fought the diamond pricing. I absolutely fought the diamond pricing because they wanted us to put the books in for $4.99, and it's not feasible. It just doesn't make sense. But if it gets to the point where, let's say that instead of 300 to 400 backers, we've got 700, 800 backers, then we can go, oh, well, fuck, we can lower the price on books because people are picking up other things. You know what I mean? And it weighs things out. Now you're selling your entire book's worth of original art pages. You know what I mean? Or you've got so many people that are picking stuff up that you can afford to change your pricing model.
Right.
That
depends on a lot about how
it does.
The
And like right
out.
now, like there are cats out right now that are putting out their $4.99 book, right? They're putting out their $4.99 book.
And they're doing one a year or every 2 years.
Or it's published by another company that just happens to be in Diamond or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it makes their lives exponentially easier because they don't have to do shit. They just put their thing together and put it out. That's it. You know what I mean? But when it comes to when you're like right now, I think that we probably pay 30 people, 40 people a month. You know what I mean? And it's like when you start looking at those numbers and what it costs to produce a book. Like I'll give you a perfect example. We just printed.
I can't imagine your overhead just for the actual
the
company that you're running.
We just printed. We just printed the Fallen Leaves, right? Fallen Leaves will be here in the next week and a half. That was $6,300 printed and shipped. Yep. And I mean, and that comes out of the top, right? That doesn't come out of like any special fund or anything, it comes out of everybody else's fund. You know what I mean? So it's like where all the money comes from, it all comes from the same place. Everybody all gets paid, so when you go, hey, look, I want to drop a new book, right? By the way, before we get any further, BT Dubs, that color is beautiful, madam, on her skin.
Yes.
Huh?
It's really good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I want to touch it.
I just have this stuff laying around. It's fine.
Right on.
Of course she does.
Like, so when you take the guy that's got a $4.99 book, he didn't pay $7,000 in production. I promise you.
Right.
He didn't pay that. And when it comes to us, we go, okay, well, the book cost us $7,000. It's going to cost us $3,000 to $5,000 to print, depending on how well we do. You know what I mean? Now you're already at $10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are the things that I stress to people because it's literally like your growth, right? if you go to a product and you buy a product, and the product is, let's say, Bob's got the product for $10. Okay, Sammy's got the same product by a different brand. Let's say he's got the off brand of the same thing, and it's $5. Okay, well, you're like, I'm going to save a few bucks, so I'm going to go to the $5 guy. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to take it and whatever. Well, when you get home, you're going to notice subtle differences in the $5 and $10 products.
Yep.
You know, my thing has always been, you know, you pay for what you get. You just pay for what you get. So if you're going and you bought the, you know, the used rims or the used tire or whatever to save a buck or two, well, it's going to go out before the other tire does. You know, the new tire is going to last you longer. There are little nuances to it like that. You know, there's the same shit with the artist, the same shit with the colorist. You know,
you could save a couple of dollars with a new vehicle and not get the heated leather seats. I don't know.
You know what? That I didn't save.
Don't be
dollars.
distant on the butt warmers now. The butt warmers are the bomb.
$. I'm paying the same amount of money without them. The same amount of money. So don't mess with me and them. This is still a topic of contention.
I can tell.
In my head right now. Stupid ass.
I think Miss April hit a sore point. Poke, poke, poke.
Stupid car. It's a beautiful car. It's a beautiful car. It's a 2023 Pathfinder.
Wait
it's
to
a
get it
car.
out of his driveway. He's all like, "Fuck this thing!" Out.
Yeah, no. There's certain shit that I just like. So every time we get the cars because my dad's in Nissan management and they want us to show the cars off, right?
Okay.
So my sister, we've gotten my sister gets them, my mom gets them, whatever. You know what I mean? But you pay the same amount every month, you know, and when you get a new car, you pay the same amount you're paying for the last car. Doesn't matter what the fucking car is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like, the last one I had was the bougiest thing that ever existed. You know what I mean? Like, if I walked toward my car, it was unlocking and getting ready to start. Just because I had to
It was reading your mind, and that's a little scary.
It was so crazy. You know, there was so many awesome things about the thing.
Did you nickname it? Be like, "Daddy's here."
No, I didn't. I should have. No, but Jesus. But no, so it had like all the bells and whistles, right? So when we got the new car, it was pretty, whatever. It had the great rims and the color was nice and everything else. And I get in there and I'm like, it's got fabric seats. I have children. What the fuck is this? And then it's like you start looking around and I'm like, I'm missing doodads. You know, and then I'm like, well, the coolest thing is I haven't had a key ignition in
forever.
Maybe 10, 15 years almost since they started doing keyless ignition. And so I'm like, but there was something cool. I like technology. So there was something cool when I looked down at the gear shift for the car. It doesn't like move. It doesn't move like back, forward, side, anywhere. It tilts. You just reach down and you tilt it a little bit forward and it goes in reverse. You tilt it a little bit back and it goes
like
forward.
A joystick.
Basically.
What happens if you nope. Sensor.
That's it.
Sorry. I'm real sorry.
Put it in the box.
Okay.
Anyway, that could have been taken however anybody wanted to take that.
Wow.
But anyway, so but when you leave it still and you just have to tap it and it'll park. You know, it's cool. It's cool to see.
What happens if you double tap it?
Oh my god.
What? That wasn't even sexual. That was,
I don't trust you.
We're back to psychopath.
I don't
back to serial killers.
You'll say something and I won't know what you meant. And I'll be like, oh, that was sweet. And somebody else is going, hee. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Speaking of sweet.
It's in a basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's sitting in my lap. He's so cute and
Lord
clean.
Clean. That's the important part there.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes. No anal leakage. We don't do any
No,
of the butt stuff.
gross.
But I don't care if he's happy or not. He keeps that to himself. Oh, gross.
Get back there and pinch your butt things.
Thank God. I'm gonna pay somebody else to do that.
Mom doesn't do that stuff.
Oh,
You wipe your own
blame
butt. Jesus, gross.
There's gonna be a time, Shawnee, when he's gonna be like, you know what? I just don't think I'm gonna invite her to this shit.
That will never happen.
No, it'll never happen. We did a show. It was our worst show. April and I have done numerous shows together, but it was our worst show we'd ever done. And we were in Orlando. And
there you go.
They did like the male review behind us, right?
Oh, that was fun. You hater.
And she was so lit that she just was paid so much attention. Like, there was nobody buying comics at the show. To be fair, we were like the only comic vendors at the whole show. And
I remember you posting about this. Yeah, you said it was really bad.
They closed it down. They were like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Belly up.
Yeah.
Kind of shit.
Yeah. Like, declared bankruptcy, and then a year later tried to start a new show.
Yeah. Hard pass.
But anyway, so she's like, she's so into this thing that I can't get her attention. I was like, April. Hey, April. And she's just like,
what do you want?
Like, oh Lord Jesus.
Whatever. In your defense, like 5 minutes later, there was like 3 acts of like girls up there.
That's fair. I don't need defending. I know how I act. I'm just saying.
Well, I hooted and hollered for those young ladies trying to make their way through college or something.
I know you did. They were trying to go to dental school.
But I'll tell you what. I'm a sucker for tassels. I'm like, how you can get them to sync up and twirl in unison. Like, that's why.
Oh, unison tassel twirling? That's a skill. That's a skill.
To be honest with you.
They have battery.
I think they just kind of spin on their own, to be honest.
No, they don't.
Oh Lord.
That is pectoral muscles in action.
Yeah, centripetal force.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's
Lord.
what that is. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That is a shimmy to the extreme.
It's really funny that Devin sent me a picture of that chick.
Of centripetal force?
No, the cosplayer from that show that came up and was just like the succubus dressed chick. Do you remember?
I remember Code Yellow, but then I also remember getting drunk off tequila and doing math. So
I think that was the most exciting part about that whole show.
That was really interesting. And then that's when I figured out that the bartender was trying to overcharge me. And I'm like, look, I haven't been drinking yet, but I know this is not right.
How bad is that? Jesus.
Dude, yeah, it was bullshit. Like, they automatically tacked on like a 20% tip and then expected you to tip them again. I'm like,
no,
that's all you get?
No.
Yeah.
No, you brought this upon yourself.
Yeah.
You have unleashed the beast.
No, I just thought, like, look, whatever. Wait until I'm like decently drunk before you try to slip one through. But no, I paid attention to some of that stuff. I'm like, this is not a party of 6, yo. It's a party of 1.
It's not a party of 6. This is just the one person. It's just me. Thanks.
I just asked for a
and while she is a party in her own right, not to that degree.
That's fair. She is
not
quite
all
a party
of my
in her own
personalities had shown up. So.
There we go. So some of them were still, hanging out.
Like I should not have been charged the extra tip. I don't know. It was.
I think that's rude no matter where you go, because that's. Yeah.
I agree 100%. We should do that. We should definitely have a drink and draw and talk about tips.
I'm down for that.
Oh man.
Look, I have never ever worked for a company that allowed tipping. So I am not a good guest to have on that.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Well,
just the tip.
I take that back. I have actually had people tip me with art, and I have been incredibly appreciative. It has allowed me to get coffee the next day. It has allowed me to not feel guilty about accepting additional monies for art that I know I undercharge myself on.
yeah.
I'm getting better about accepting my worth, but at the same time, it's just so hard. I want to do stuff because I like it. I want to accept projects that make me happy. But I also think that charging $200 for a blank sketch cover is outrageous. Puppy is upset. Let me go put him in his kennel. I'll be right back.
Well, I agree with that. Let me piggyback off that. There's something to be said about, we try to charge equivalent to what you're going to get. So I'll give you a perfect example. We had a dude come and pick up his Clash of the Titans cover yesterday that Blayden had done for him. And he was over the moon about this cover.
Oh, that's good.
Dude, he was, oh my gosh, dude, he's ready to buy another one.
Guess we'll let him.
But
we
will definitely let him, you know what I mean? But the concept was, when he was sitting and talking to me about it, though, he was like, dude, I had no idea I was going to get this, but every artist that we have, if you ask for a blank or you ask for a store exclusive, they come out just running, it's never, you're never going to get half-ass. We only do whole ass. We don't do half-ass well. I mean,
I don't think there's anybody, you included, Dustin, honestly, I don't think anybody that I've seen on this team who even understands the concept of half-ass. It's not in your lexicon, it's not in your vocabulary, it's not in your makeup. You guys
it's hard for us to be lazy.
Yeah. You just don't. That
if
goes
you go,
against being.
Yeah, dude. Well, there's if you tell us that we've got a day off, right?
Boy.
And if you're like, hey, we're going to take the day off, even if we say it, chances are we're going to work at some point.
It's true.
It's like, but it's the drive. You know what I mean? It's the drive, and not everybody has that, and that goes hand in hand with excellence, and it goes hand in hand with succeeding.
No.
If you're half-assed, and I literally just had this conversation with my daughter just the other night. If you're going to do things half-assed, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point, because you're wasting your time and everyone else involved. Yeah. Give it everything you've got from the get, from the gunshot, everything you've got until it's done. And then you know what? Rest and wake the fuck up and do it again.
And then in Blayden's, case, it's like if he tries to do it half-assed, he gets bored, and then he's his own worst critic, and then he just has to work twice as hard to fix it or do something else. So
that might be an issue.
We did a cover. What did we do that? Fuck it. You did that Underland cover the other day, and he was like, I did this like 6 fucking times. It's like,
yeah, I inked it and then I scanned it and I didn't like it, so I went ahead and printed it out blue again, and then I inked it again, or penciled it and then inked it again. So yeah, I mean,
well, there's something to be said about, being hard on yourself, right? Like right now, if you're not hard on yourself, you're destined to stay the same. Like when, being real, if you look at Blayden's older stuff, you wouldn't know it was his art versus his art now.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't know. Or if you read my scripts from 3 years ago, they're nowhere near as good as they are now. Not that the story's not good, but it's the way you write. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's the how does the artist perceive
the punctuation? It's the wordage and how
mm-hmm.
the pacing.
Not even just that, but the style of putting the words on the paper.
Yeah.
It's like if right now we're working on the listener right now, okay? Because that book's going to print here in a couple of months. So we're working on the last issue of the listener that came out. And it was like Ed had so many questions. And Blayden's like, well, let me get a hold of it. And he's like, well, he writes like this now, so we're just going to make it look like he writes now versus how he wrote before. So it's easier for you to understand, and it's a skill set. The more you do it, the better you get, just like anything else. I'm real funny about my scripts. Like, I'm real funny about them. And because if I'm in a hurry, I don't give a shit about punctuation or anything until I go back and I'm like, I remember that other people are going to read it.
Yeah.
So then I go, we fix it. Or if April gets a hold of it, and then I really got to fix it. So
I'm a little nicer.
It's true. That's not that red pen.
I think there is a the red pen. I think there's a balance though between, like, in April's case, I mean, just in general, but too, there's a balance between knowing your worth and being able to do constructive criticism for yourself.
For sure.
So, and I imagine that's not always easy to do.
Well, is a creator, right? Like, I had an artist tell me that a certain project we've got coming up was too gory for them. And it was like, well, to be fair, you were forewarned at the beginning of the conversation. You know what I mean? That's what this was.
Right.
But as a writer, you control the depth of what you're creating. So, like, if I'm like, hey, Blayden, there needs to be blood here. Blayden puts blood there. But I'm like, that's not enough. It needs to be more. And he puts more in. Then I'm like, it's still not enough. So we need to, give me a couple more gallons. It's just, it conceptually when, now all of a sudden it's like,
somebody was exsanguinated off stage.
Right. You knew I wanted it, but you didn't know I wanted that much. Right. So you control the tempo of what's going on. So an artist could be like, yes, I'm comfortable. Okay. Let's say that we've got a book coming out and there's complete nudity in the book. Okay. There's full nudity, nothing held to the imagination at all. It's all there. And
you all hang out.
Artists, well, yes, there's full nudity. Are you okay with full nudity? And they're like, yeah, I'm cool with full nudity. Okay, cool. Look, are you like okay with being like up in the V? Are you good with it? Like full on in it? Are you okay with that? And then they're like, well, no, I didn't know that was. Well, that's what I was saying though. Are you okay with it? When I ask you if you're okay, it means, do you have a boundary? I'm giving you the out as the creator to tell me, yes, I may not be comfortable going this far in this direction or this far going in that direction. And that's what stimulated the whole me being fucking batshit crazy conversation. And that's okay, because I really think that as any kind of creative individual, we all have a side of us that we keep in check. You know what I mean? It's like, not that we're all out, not that we're serial killers or crazy people, but at the same time, I talk to 5 different characters a day. So it could be misconstrued as batshit crazy. And, but when you look at it on paper, it's different characters. And I'm not speaking to myself in 5 different personas anymore,
So you say.
I will plead the 5th on something.
All right. I'm curious too, in some of when you have those conversations with some of the artists or the creative people, do some of them have a hard time admitting to their boundaries and everything else? Either if they fear they don't want to disappoint you.
Sometimes I don't think they've ever had to explore those boundaries before.
Yes. Okay.
But also, when people are applying for jobs, it is really hard to tell people that you have boundaries. Like if you get into a transfer and you already have a vacation that you've scheduled and a couple of like free days that you promised to your kids or whatever, and then they're like, well, what does your schedule look like? Are you flexible? And then you're like, ugh, well, you can say, oh yeah, I totally am. And then after you get hired the job, then you're like, oh yeah, by the way. And then they're like, that's not what that I thought we talked about this. So you don't want to be lied to, but you also don't want to get like not offered the job.
For sure. So I'm gonna elaborate on that.
So it's a balance, and it's I can see it being on the other side being tough because I've been in the situation April's just
right. Well, so this will be the last one we hit before we head out of here because I'm about to fall asleep. So
wear him out.
No, I am beat as all get out. But there's so as you know, when you come to a new job as a creative individual, whether you're a writer, you're an inker, you're a colorist, you're a line artist, doesn't matter. When you come into the world of comic books, you're fighting the tide already. You're already pushing back against the million other motherfuckers that want to be in this industry. So when it comes to, and you have an actual chance to get with a publishing company that is a legit publishing company and everything's on the up and up, when you have the chance, you jump at it. You know what I mean? So even if you thought you could handle it, you may or may not have been able to, because you wanted that opportunity, that breakout step. You wanted to be a guy doing 24 pages to 48 pages a month. You wanted to be that person. But, not everybody is made of the same stuff.
Sure.
So if I go, I want to, get on this and I want to do this and I want to do that. But you may find that the work is more grueling than you thought it would be. Or, some of these cats spend 16 hours on a cover, or, not everybody's Blayden and can knock out a page in 25 minutes. You know what I mean? That's reality.
That one's happened
It took me at least 4 hours.
No, at least.
But my point
was
is,
probably like 6. All right,
you want your break. You want to get into the industry. So you may say a little bit more than is true to solidify your position, to just expound on what April said. It's very
I imagine that makes then you have to make the hard calls because
right. So now you're going, do you fit? Right. You know what I mean? Do you really fit at the end of the day? And right now, thankfully, we have plenty of people that really fit. But recently we had a guy tell us that he was going to do something and then backed out 2 weeks before the project started. Ooh. And it was just like, okay, well, I was unhappy about said decision, to say the least.
I imagine that's putting it mildly.
That's pretty mild, but it was this. But we all get together and we fix it. Again, we are more than the sum of our parts, and so if something breaks, we fix it. If there's an issue, we fix it. So look, man, let me tell you something. If there's
a good pool that allows everybody to be flexible.
Absolutely. Well, again, if you don't want this job, I promise you there's someone that does.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very much we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and we're gonna fight and do what we need to do. Yeah. So if people have that mentality, it shows. So if they come in and they're like, hey, look, I want to take the job, but I think I've stepped in over my head on this or this topic. Like we've got a book called Where They Dwell coming out. And it's very, very in your face, like exorcisms and stuff like that. It's real in your face. And if you find certain things like that offensive, you know what I mean? Or the, bad mouthing or even, approving of religions or thought processes, it may not be the spot for you. But let's say you came on and you were like, yeah, I can do this artwork. Cool, look, man, don't get upset if it offends you. You know what I mean? Just do, and you know what a good employee does? Hey, man, I'm gonna bust my ass regardless. I'll say this. Ryan Kincaid said it to me once when I first got into this industry. I asked him about, nude covers and stuff like that, and he was like, because Ryan's a religious dude, and I asked him, I was like, well, how do you feel about this? And you know what? He was like, and it's something I look, man, I hold him and a couple other cats in the highest esteem, and he literally was like, I think God would want me to feed my kids.
Yep.
And I was like, well, that's the answer that we all need. That's all that we need. If you're going to go for a job and you get the job and it may, morally not be your, cup of tea, but if it's not hurting you,
right.
Jump
it's
into
not hurting
it,
you, not hurting somebody else, and it's achieving the act of feeding your family.
Right, dude. It's a win for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So those are things.
Unfortunately, not everybody can come to that.
And then I don't put them in that position anymore to get offended like that. You know what I mean? I tend to fix it, but it's like,
if you know about it, then you can.
Yeah, well, you have a concept or an idea of what they're into or what they're not. But anyway, it is 2 hours and 10 minutes into the show. It's been an absolute blast.
We are funded.
I am bushwhacked.
And we are well funded. At,
we are. Let me check.
Are we well on our way to 20,000?
Well on our way.
20,001.
32.96 and 54 backers right now.
Ooh,
so.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah,
excellent.
That's super exciting. What a great start to the evening. You know what I mean? How awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maurice. Maurice is great. Thank you so much. But, I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us, Shawnee. You're always welcome to come shoot the shit.
I had so much fun. Thank you for letting me join. So
sorry, I was so discombobulated.
It's ridiculous how much fun we have around here.
That April.
Wild April lady.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for having me on my own show. And I will we'll endeavor to be back together next Friday. We'll probably be shooting the shit and talking about the campaign and other things we've got going on. And I know that April and Joseph or Blayden Hunter are starting to talk about selling artwork on the show. So don't miss out on that, because that's going to be super fun too.
Ooh, and Mermaid and
Unicorn,
starting up.
I'm so excited.
I can never remember the unicorn one.
Yeah,
Unicorn.
Yeah. Unicorn. That's what
it's called. Yeah.
Unicorn. I'm excited. May do some crossovers and stuff. Should be fun.
I know. April let me. I got my bids in, and so she said I got my picks. I'm all happy.
There you go. Right on. Well, if you guys are into that and want some original artwork from April, make sure that you reach out and ask her about it, because she's probably got a couple days left on her awesome books coming out. And they are friendly books. They are not.
Yeah.
She's calling them PG-13ish, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be PG-13. The adult artwork is available upon request, but it probably won't go into the book. And depending on if I have like 20 people who sign up and 19 of them want X-rated material, then obviously that's going to sway the publication of the book. Material. But unless it's specially requested, Squee After Dark stays in October and doesn't necessarily, like, I'm doing fulfillment for that. Like, that I'm not doing it because I...
Look at pretty Lilith. Lilith is actually in Greed, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. I figured this was kind of sort of a derivative of...
Fancy.
Yay, there she is. Look how pretty she is.
So pretty.
So fancy.
I love her.
Oh my gosh,
I
that
love
one.
Yep.
So ridiculously good.
Yeah.
So,
and that comes in a wild version too. So,
yep.
Woohoo!
And since we're at the end of the show and we're not monetized, I will show you guys the awesome cover. Holy cow, that's a good one.
That is really cool.
You're the digital flame. Loving it. Oh, then you get your Jake T, and I love that one too. Good grief.
Woohoo!
Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll holler at you, and we'll talk shortly. Have a good evening.
You
Good
too.
night.
Night.
Bye.